Okay, outside zone lead coming from the Niners. Just watching it through the first time, we see we get an outside zone action coming to our side of the field. All the lines moving to the front side here. They're all working a gap strong. We'll dig more into that into a second. See the running back picks up an easy 10 or whatever he gets. Now, normally on outside zone, we're going to see everyone look to try to take their gap to their play side and get to that far shoulder. And that means you get a lot of reaches normally, right? So that would mean we're trying to get him to there. We're trying to get him to reach out there. We're trying to get him to reach all the way over. The center's got to cut off on the backside. The guard's got to scoop to that linebacker, and the tackle's got to try to cut off on that backside. Definitely some tough angles. You got to have offensive linemen that can move. That's why you have some of those slightly smaller offensive linemen, those smaller, quicker offensive linemen that tend to function well in those outside zone schemes. However, there's a huge adjustment right now for the Niners, which is they're running outside zone with a lead, right? Which means Juszczyk is now going to work into the front side of the scheme, which means everyone else's assignment to the second level can kick back a guy, right? So if we watch the initial release on this, instead of Kittle needing to reach over to the front here, he can double, and this double team can climb to that play side linebacker. And now the center and guard can work to the backside linebacker. And now Kittle and the receiver here can work a double to the corner, right? And that's what ends up happening. He ends up pushing him off, and now you get great angles. So I'm a huge fan of teams that don't just run traditional outside zone. I love outside zone, by the way. I'm an outside zone guy. I believe in it wholeheartedly. However, outside zone lead is such a crucial wrinkle because it makes your angles so much better. It makes your angles really indefensible in many ways. And it does mean, yes, you're committing more to the box, and now you're playing from 21 personnel, and now the fullback and receivers and tight ends have got to get involved in doubles. Like, there's definitely a lot of layers to adding in that zone lead. It's also communication up front where normally, okay, as we were just saying, we're going to work, him to here. He's got to climb here or push crack to the safety in most outside zone schemes. Well, that means we're getting the front side guard and tackle working to that front side linebacker. That puts the guard working to, the Sam or the Mike, however you want to key him. That's not always an easy angle as he's flown across the top. But then to communicate it, that this guy is able to put a hand on the nose and then climb to the backside linebacker, that's not always easy communication either. Even at the NFL level, if you turn on these outside zone lead and zone lead clips, you see it all the time, that communication is hard and guys end up in the wrong spot. This is a really good example of being done really well, and you can also see the benefits from the angles. It's a much easier reach and slide. It's much easier to overtake leverage. And now we have hat, push out, climb. Everyone's got angles here. And it's really, I believe, the backside safety who comes across and makes this play. Right now, the Cardinals are on cover 4, meaning the safeties are down into the run game. And it's the backside safety who has to come across and make that play. 49ers do a great job on their zone lead scheme here. Also great to see on outside zone teams who have receivers who are willing to get involved in the, kind of the muddy variations of the blocking schemes. If you look back at the old, 97, 98 Broncos, with Alex Gibbs as their own line coach, they're asking, Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey to get involved in those blocking schemes. You look at Sean McVay, asking his receivers like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and a couple years ago, Robert Woods and those guys to get involved in the blocking schemes. The Niners doing the exact same thing. So layers on outside zone, layering in, lead outside zone, with a Kyle Juszczyk here, and layering in the receivers in the blocking scheme really can give you great numbers at the point of attack, great angles working to the second level defenders, and big gains, if you're willing to put in the time to learn some of those layers.